So here is an example of a problem where you're asked to find the inverse of a function. And here's we go about doing that. So the first step, remember the definition of the inverse function. A function composed with its inverse is the identity function, which means whatever a function does to x, the inverse function undoes it, which means they're the opposites in some sense. So the way we do this is the first step. Write down your function as y equals x minus 1 over x plus 1. So at this step, y is the function f of x. What we do next is the most important step, that is switch the x and the y. So wherever you see an x, put a y. Wherever you see a y, put an x. In this equation, the meaning of y changes because we've switched x and y. The new y is really the inverse function. So the rest of the problem is just solving for y. So write down your equation, x over 1 equals y minus 1 over y plus 1. Cross multiply, and when you cross multiply, you get x times the quantity, put it in parentheses, y plus 1, is equal to y minus 1 times 1, which is y minus 1. Simplify the left-hand side by distributing the x. So xy plus x is equal to y minus 1. That's your right-hand side. Now, the next step is, remember, we are trying to solve for y. So any term that contains y, bring it all to one side. So we're going to bring all the y terms to the left side. So we subtract y from both sides, cancelling the y. And on the left, we have xy minus y. At the same time, we need to get rid of any other terms not containing y on the left side. So subtract x on both sides. So that cancels the x on the left. So on the right, we have negative 1 minus x. On the left, we have xy minus y. Once this is done, we factor out the y from this expression to get y times x minus 1, and that's equal to negative 1 minus x. And the last step is to isolate the y by dividing both sides by x minus 1. So we have y equals minus 1 minus x divided by x minus 1. So this is our solution, and it matches with the answer that is given here. However, if you do things in a slightly different way, you might get a slightly different answer, and it's only an equivalent form of this particular answer. So let's say we factored out a negative 1 from the numerator. This is what we would have. Now, if the negative 1 got transferred to the denominator, this is what we would have. So you distribute the minus to get a positive 1 minus x. So this is also a correct answer.